Okay, now, what's the best way to do this? You should, if you haven't already done, I don't think you would have known to do this yet because there are no instructions on this. If you haven't done this already, maybe you've figured out that it's matching, and you're right. But in addition to the matching, in other words, for number one, I want you to figure out which one of these graphs is showing the graph of x is less than 1. But in addition to that, I'd like you to write the interval notation to describe the solution set. So go back and do that, and then come to this slide and check your work against mine. Okay, if x is less than 1, x is all the values to the left of 1, but does not include 1. So if I look at positive 1, I'm looking for an open circle and an arrow to the left. And so D is the correct match for this inequality. If I focus on D now, the solution set starts at negative infinity, goes all the way to positive 1, and then should I put parentheses or brackets for positive 1? Well, 1 is not included, so that's parentheses. Infinity and negative infinity always get parentheses. Number 2 says x is almost exactly like number 1, except now x is less than or equal to 1. So I'm looking for the graph that has the same graph except the solid dot at positive 1, and it's directly above. It's I. And the only thing that would change now is we go from negative infinity to 1, but 1 is included, and so I show the brackets for the solution set. Problem 3, x is greater than 1. So again, we're looking at, it can't equal 1, so again, we're looking at an open circle at 1, but now an arrow to the right, and so that would be G. If I focus on G, the least possible value is 1. It can't be 1, but it would start at 1 and go all the way to positive infinity. Infinity always gets parentheses, and in this case 1 would also get parentheses because it's not included in the solution set. Number 4, I'm looking for x is greater than or equal to 1. So just like G except a solid dot at 1, that looks like y to me. So again, we're going from 1 to infinity. Infinity always gets parentheses, but this time 1 gets a bracket because it is included in the solution set. Here's something we haven't talked about. X is not equal to 1. That means x could be any value less than 1 or greater than 1. Just can't be 1. So we're looking for an open circle at 1 and arrows going in both directions. So that's A. Let me show you another way to represent this, because this is what one of the things we refer to as a compound inequality. X is greater than 1 or less than 1. Like if you read right to left, that's saying x is greater than 1, and if you read left to right, it's x is greater than 1. If you read right to left this way, this says x is less than 1. It's basically saying x could be anything greater than 1 and anything less than 1. It just can't be 1. But it's a lot easier to just use the inequality symbol. When you look at the least possible value for x, if you go all the way to the left, I mean, it's going to be negative infinity. It's going to go all the way up to 1, but not include 1, so parentheses. And of course, parentheses for infinity always. And then we're going to start up with another interval, starting at 1 and going all the way to positive infinity. But parentheses on both of those also. The parentheses around the 1 shows you that there's a gap at the 1, but it could be any other value. Number 6, x is less than negative 2. First r jumped out at me, but then that's showing all the values greater than negative 2. Less than negative 2 would be h, because negative 2 is not included and the arrow goes to the left. So this is h. The interval would be the interval for the solution set. The least possible value would be negative infinity, and the greatest possible value would be negative 2, except it just wouldn't include that negative 2, so parentheses. This infinity symbol is called lemon skate. That's a fancy math word for that I didn't know for quite a long time. So I'm teaching it to you now. X is greater than -2. That was one we spotted before, R. It can't be -2, but it's all values greater than -2. So that's R. And the interval starts at the least possible value, which is not exactly -2. It's just everything to the right of -2 all the way to infinity. So we'll indicate that -2 is not included with the parentheses notation. 8x is less than or equal to -2. That's L. I've got negative infinity to -2, and this time -2 is included, so brackets. Number 9, x is greater than or equal to -2. That's S. There's a solid dot at -2 indicating that it's included. It's the least possible value and it's included, so it gets brackets all the way to infinity, which also always gets parentheses.